In Total Drama, we're used to only seeing teenagers competing in challenges to win a lot of cash. However, when the series decided to take a step back from the Survivor style of reality TV and do its take on The Amazing Race, the creators opened up the competition. Total Drama's spinoff features 18 different pairs of competitors, spanning across different ages, careers, personalities, and of course, morality. But which of these racers shine the brightest in terms of goodness, and which ones are rotten to the core? Hey guys, I'm Brad with Wicked Binge, and this is Ridonculous Race Characters, Good to Evil. The Ridonculous race focuses on pairs instead of solo competitors, so you're going to see a few pairs who have similar levels of morality, making it hard to rank them separately. You're also going to see pairs of characters that didn't stay in the game long enough for us to get a good look at their individual morality or their differences in personality. We'll try to break up the pairs, but don't be surprised if you see a few ties. As usual, we'll be starting with the most pure and noble characters and working our way down. These characters are the good. Our pick for most good is the team that won it all, Brody and Jeff, the Surfers. Being chill dudes, it's no surprise that Brody and Jeff were the nicest team. They're friendly towards other teams and are optimistic about even the toughest challenges. One of their brightest moments was when they were in Vietnam, where they let the best friends team pass, honoring their alliance with them. Although this originally backfired when the Surfers were eliminated, this good karma came back in full force later in the season.
Rest easy! If we win, we'll split the million with you!
They vow to share the million with the best friends team as a way to thank them. Not too many other teams would do that, but what puts the Surfers this high isn't their kindness towards the other teams, but towards each other. Jeff and Brody are the truest of bros. They always encourage each other and stay positive and optimistic when one of them is struggling. They never argued or blamed each other for falling behind, choosing to instead follow the old saying of win together, lose together. Not even Josie's attempts at manipulation could make them turn against each other. Say what you will about Jeff's attitude during his time on Total Drama, but as far as Ridonculous race goes, both him and Brody deserve to win the $1 million for their good sportsmanship and beautiful bromance. Taking silver is Carrie, one half of the best friends team. Her crush on her bestie, Devin, was frustrating, but Carrie is a nice girl. Though she may not have the best opinion of Devin's girlfriend, Shelly, these critiques are more out of concern than jealousy, given that Shelly throws fits and punishes Devin for making a mistake or cheat on him with her tennis instructor. Although her being happy about Devin getting dumped and having a chance to date him was questionable.
Is it bad that I hope he runs out of time?
When she thought she was over her crush or was frustrated with Devin's mistakes, Carrie never acted like a jerk towards him. She was maybe more stern and more distant, but still his friend who cared about his well-being. Outside of her crush subplot, Carrie is kind and friendly to the other competitors. She looked after Junior when he was lost and alone in the African savannah, and when Ryan and Stephanie were having relationship issues, Carrie gave Ryan someone to talk to and even helped him with his fear of heights. Carrie was another one of those competitors that never used underhanded tactics to win, and when she was allowed to bring one team back to compete in her and Devin's place, she remembered the Surfers' sacrifice and returned the favor, allowing the Surfers to compete once more. She's so nice, it's no surprise that Devin fell for her, eventually. In third place is the always lovable and usually gassy Owen. If you've seen our first Total Drama list, you probably aren't surprised to see Owen. Yes, he managed to get onto another reality show, and he actually got far. This is mostly due to Owen's optimism, as well as his ability to encourage and support his teammate, something he did a lot this season. Whether it's trying to help Noah win over his new crush, Emma, or helping Noah stay in the game after Emma breaks his heart, Owen is a true friend.
Here's the choo-choo train.
His friendship with someone as sarcastic and antisocial as Noah may be strange, but you understand why it works. His enthusiasm to see new sights, meet new friends, and of course, eat new food also helps him in the game. Though he may be terrified about it, Owen is okay with taking on the more dangerous or painful challenges, like cuddling with a Komodo dragon or using his belly to clean windows. Though he has his faults, as well as a few annoying traits, Owen is a standout in terms of morality and friendliness. Next, we have sister and selfie fanatic Kitty. Unlike Emma, who tried to be all business and focus on winning, Kitty is all about having a fun adventure with her sister. Like Owen, she has a ton of enthusiasm for travel, taking pictures and trying to get her big sis to lighten up and enjoy herself.
Come on, look
This includes trying to set up an alliance with the reality show pros to help Emma get with her crush, Noah. Kitty also tried to encourage an alliance with the Adversity twins early in the competition, both as a strategic play and to help the twins through their struggles. Maybe it was done partially out of pity, but it was still nice. Though, while she may not be as focused as Emma, Kitty also has her moments of determination in trying to win the million. However, she only puts herself at risk, not her sister or other competitors. While she may poke fun at Emma's lawyer-like personality, Kitty fully supports Emma's dreams of law school and wants to win the money for her. Even with their moments of ditziness and being a scatterbrain, Kitty is a good sister, competitor, and person. Next is Jay and Mickey, the Adversity twins. Their team name isn't an exaggeration. They had it rough, inside and outside of the competition. From strange phobias to a laundry list of allergies and weaknesses, these two have bad luck.
Our lactose intolerance extends to even being near cows.
However, they never let themselves get too discouraged, nor do they take out their frustration on their fellow competitors. While others pick on them or pity them, the twins are nothing but friendly and describe themselves as gentlemen. Mickey gets an extra tip for Kitty out of the bullet ant mitt in Brazil, so she doesn't have to get bitten. And both twins are understanding when Kitty and Emma decide not to form an alliance with them due to their bad luck. The two of them are humble whenever they do win, and they look out for each other throughout the competition. They may not do anything good or amazing, but you could argue that making it through the trials and tribulations and ranking 12th in the competition is extraordinary. Up next is one of the police cadets in training, Sanders. Sanders is the definition of lawful good. She says during her and her partner's introduction that she plans on being mindful of any and all international laws during the competition. Sanders tries to rein in MacArthur's more reckless actions or bad cop-like tendencies.
Put me down! I can do this! I beg to differ, chicken legs.
It's made clear that she's not only the voice of reason for her team, but also its conscience. When their rivals, the ice dancers, push them to their breaking point, Sanders almost never resorts to cheating or revenge. She even offered to help the ice dancers when they were all at risk of being eliminated. We say almost since there were a couple of times Sanders was willing to do an impression of a police siren to help her team's taxi make it through heavy traffic. Technically cheating, but not nearly as bad as some of the cheating other characters on this list have done. That one exception aside, Sanders plays fair, and while she may force MacArthur into being less aggressive, she's also patient and forgiving with her, even after MacArthur accidentally broke her arm. While she has her own moments of aggression and still plays to win, Sanders plays the role of good cop well. Following her, we have the Goths, Ennui, and Crimson. While they may seem dark and gloomy, they keep to themselves and never cause trouble for others. Despite Don calling them bad kids, they aren't bad at all. They may cringe at all things cute and happy, but they actually adopt a bunny that they then name Loki after sensing the darkness within him. Ennui grows attached to Loki, and Crimson helps Ennui look for him when Loki's taken by Jocks and Jose, not caring if it means risking their place in the race. While it may seem like they don't care about the competition, their rivals, or anything, they care about each other and support each other. Crimson breaks a challenge rule in Transylvania, not because she was trying to cheat, but because she wanted to give her boyfriend a chance to enjoy being in a coffin. How heartwarming, in a goth and macabre way. After seeing each other without their goth makeup for the first time and being turned off by how cute and nice the other looks, they change their minds about breaking up and remain together, ultimately coming back stronger and gothier than ever.
It's the blackness deep down inside that counts.
It's clear that although they don't smile too often, they're both functional and happy as a romantic couple. Add in that they never do anything cruel or malicious to other competitors, and you've got a pair that gives goths a good name. Despite being the youngest, Junior ranks high on our list. Not only does he show more morality and maturity than most of the other competitors, he outranks his father in these traits. Although he'll scold Dwayne Sr. for being uncooperative or following through with a bad idea, he's a level-headed kid. He starts to grow out of his original attitude of being embarrassed by his dad and shows appreciation and mutual respect when Dwayne Sr. stops being so overbearing. Being a preteen, Junior can be snarky, but that's the worst he gets. A far cry from the brattiness we see from some of the other younger competitors. Showing growth from his total drama appearances, we have Noah. When the race started, Noah was his usual dry and cynical self, contrasting hard with his teammates' overabundance of enthusiasm. He was also interpreted meaner than he was during Total Drama, where it could be argued he was more nuanced. He starts to show his soft side once he falls for Emma, and he isn't nice only to her, but to everyone. In the Hawaii Challenge, when Noah was lucky enough to find 2 wedding rings, he had planned on selling one of them for cash when he got home, but instead gave it to the Adversity Twins so they could complete the challenge. Owen was so surprised by this act of generosity that he thought Noah was dying.
Noah's dying!
This growth towards being less abrasive continues throughout the season, and while he still wants to win, he's still happy after being eliminated, taking solace in having a girlfriend who is as snarky and cynical. Just under her crush, we have Emma. Emma is single-minded, and while she won't compromise her morals to win, she's determined, competitive, and focused. Or at least she tries to be. This doesn't always work, since she's distracted by romance. While she isn't mean, she isn't always the nicest, and will look down on Kitty for her antics, occasionally insulting her without meaning to, or refusing to trust her with important tasks. She also refused to make any friends or alliances in the first half of the race, not wanting to be weighed down or possibly stabbed in the back by another team. Emma does this herself during the air guitar challenge, where she manipulates Mickey into losing so Noah can stay in the game. But while her control freak nature never dissipates when it comes to the competition, Emma eventually becomes less distrustful and irritable after she accepts her feelings for Noah and regrets how she treated him early on and for briefly dumping him. She also becomes more appreciative and protective of Kitty towards the end of the season, showing that while they may not always understand each other, they still love each other, and Emma is able to accept her loss with grace. Next is Devin, the other half of the best friends team. Devin's main characteristic, along with being oblivious, is being nice. He's friendly and outgoing, and when he's focused on his teammate and the challenge at hand, he can make for some great support. The best example of this was when he helped get Carrie through the eating challenge in China, being patient with her the entire time.
Have faith, homie. Have faith.
Unfortunately, he can also be emotional, and in some instances that can come off as selfish. When Shelly broke up with him after he won a phone call with her, Devin was heartbroken. While we can sympathize with a rough breakup, Devin's reactions to it were a hassle for Carrie to deal with. And before they broke up, Devin would compare Carrie to Shelly, something that frustrated Carrie. Devin can also be pushy, like when he insisted that he and Carrie do the Dune Buggy challenge, despite Carrie's concerns about it, or when he started getting jealous about Carrie and Ryan spending time together. Compared to his bestie, Devin has faults, but that doesn't make him a bad person. He never cheated or tried to cheat during the competition, and with the exception of Ryan, he never held any hostility towards his fellow competitors either. While he may not always realize when he hurts her, Devin cares about Carrie as both a friend and a potential romantic partner, and that's something we can admire. We're going to rank Dwayne Sr. next. Dwayne isn't a bad father, but he falls into the bumbling dad category. Nearly every time he opens his mouth, he is insensitive or unintentionally offending someone. He's an airhead, and his luck is on par with the Adversity Twins. He can also make questionable choices, like when he decided to take a fossil that just happened to be sitting there, despite Junior's concerns that it already belonged to someone. This wasn't done maliciously, it was just a poor choice that backfired on both their team and the vegans. But what really makes him an endearing character is the love Dwayne Sr. has for his son, and how he's willing to make a change for him in the hopes of the two of them having a better relationship. The only reason why Dwayne Sr. wanted to do the race was to have some bonding time with his kid. His protectiveness, while overbearing, can also be sweet, given that he's okay with doing the more dangerous challenges if it means his son doesn't have to. Even if Dwayne Sr. doesn't always make the right call and relies on his son to get them through a few of the challenges, we'd still consider him a good dad. At the bottom of our good tier, we have Rock and Spud, the Rockers, a couple of bandmates who are trying to win the money in the hopes of getting a big break along with it. Although they aren't always on the same page and can frustrate each other, it's clear that they share a strong bond and friendship. Rock is the brains and personality of the group by default, while Spud is lazy, slow, and selfish, though still a nice person.
Spud's got a delayed reaction to everything, including pain.
Spud eventually learns that he can't put all the responsibility of winning challenges on Rock's shoulders and tries to be a better partner. Even if he doesn't always succeed, we can give him credit for trying since they improved their teamwork. In some sense, with Rock being determined but emotional, and Spud being lazy but level-headed and calm, they balance each other out.
We're gonna get off this rock or die trying!
While they may be obnoxious with all their air guitaring, these two are also friendly towards the other teams, despite not interacting with them too much. They're a couple of pretty cool dudes. That's it for the good characters. Now it's time to descend into the neutral territory. This is the gray area. This is also where we're gonna see a few of those tied rankings mentioned earlier. First, we have MacArthur. Being more of a spitfire than Sanders, MacArthur takes her job and the competition seriously. When it comes to competition, she's fierce and hot-headed, not to mention rude. Although she has pride in her title of police cadet, she's not law-abiding and can resort to questionable means. During the Komodo Dragon Venom Challenge, she confesses that she's done a lot of illegal stuff that'll probably get her fired after the race is over.
I faked my way into cadet school. I have a rap sheet a mile long.
There are times when MacArthur's tendency to bend rules goes too far, and she can come off as devious and manipulative as Josie, if not more. Like during the Vietnam Challenge, where she joins Josie's efforts in sabotaging the other teams. Though reckless and morally questionable, she's still a good person. She regretted her actions after she accidentally broke Sanders' arm, vowing to listen to Sanders from then on, and to be a better partner. She also rescued Jose from drowning during the challenge in the Bahamas, despite the two of them hating each other. It's this act that pushes MacArthur towards the edge of gray, despite all of her issues. The LARPers, Leonard and Tammy, are next. They seem to believe their magic is real, and won't hear anything against this delusion. While Leonard has had experience with reality TV due to his time on Total Drama Pakatu Island, this experience doesn't help or change him. In fact, he's the exact same character from Pakatu. Compared to characters like Noah or Jeff that actually grew and developed, that's a huge disappointment. His teammate, Tammy, doesn't fare any better, considering that she barely even gets any lines before the two of them are eliminated. These guys don't get a chance to do anything, good or evil. At most, they try to cast a spell on the vegans and the father and son team in Morocco, so they wouldn't lose their lead. But of course, the LARPers lose it anyway, given that their spell wasn't real and thus harmless.
Time reversal spell!
We know little about them, so we have no choice but to put them in the gray. Next, we have the geniuses, Elodie and Mary. Living up to their name, these two are smart university students who think that their intelligence will be what wins them the competition. Unfortunately, and ironically, it is their biggest downfall, due to them needing to overplan and overthink. Though they aren't too disheartened by their elimination, with Elodie even cracking a self-deprecating joke about it.
Geniuses aren't always as smart as they think.
Maybe that's the biggest example of the personality and morality of these two. They don't go out of their way to be nice or mean or even condescending. They're just smart. At worst, they poke fun at Tom and Jen's fake tans in the Mediterranean, which may be rude, but it's hardly a sin. We suppose it only makes sense that the most logic-minded team in the race is also one of the most neutral. Every reality show needs a host, so of course we can't forget about Don. Although he's egotistical and narcissistic, which no surprise there, given his celebrity status, Don doesn't see the Ridonculous race as another job. He cares about the rules, and while he may be uncaring in certain instances, like when he didn't care to investigate the ice dancers win in New Zealand, for the most part, he doesn't hesitate to hand out penalties to those who cheat their way towards first place.
20-minute penalty.
Being the face of the show, Don is friendly towards the competitors, even if he occasionally trolls them with a bait and switch or make fun of a team's hilarious failure. He also likes to keep a professional distance from the competitors, getting annoyed whenever he gets wrapped up in a group hug, and has no issues with pointing out things he doesn't like about the teams in a snarky way. This mostly happened with the Goths, who we found to be creepy. Even with these faults, Don is a far cry from Total Drama's usual host, Chris. He isn't nearly as sadistic and doesn't change the rules in an unfair fashion as often. So while he could stand to be more observant and more accepting, Don is the better of the two hosts.
Wanna dance with the Widowmaker?
Up next, we have Tom and Jen, the fashion bloggers.
Hey,
fashion vlog followers.
They're a pair of flamboyant but good-natured fashion bloggers who love to look good and start new trends, only entering the race as a means of promoting their blog and doing international shopping. Despite being fashionistas, they actually aren't too self-centered. While they may point out good or bad fashion, which may be rude, they don't go out of their way to insult each other. They argue sometimes and can be prideful, but are willing to put this pride aside, like when Jin gave her support to Tom's Fez hat idea when he was struggling with both a challenge and his self-esteem. At worst, these two can be annoying, often squeeing whenever they're excited about something, like going to Paris. Despite a lack of flaws, they don't have much development or many moments of doing good with how focused they are on their blog and shopping, often sabotaging themselves in the competition so they can do something that benefits them personally. They're the definition of a neutral and flat pair of characters. Although they started out peaceful and loving, the vegans, Lori and Miles, fell pretty far. When first introduced, they swore that they would use their winnings to fund several of their favorite charities and activist groups. They prided themselves on not only being vegan, but also non-violent and peaceful. Unfortunately, the trials and tribulations of the race pushed them to their breaking points. Lori especially has a temper. When she learned that Dwayne Sr. and Jr. took their fossil in Iceland, she wished for the goddess of karma to strike Dwayne down.
The goddess of karma will get you for this!
Then, when she discovers that she and Miles had forced themselves to eat meat and give up their morals for nothing after learning it had been for a no-elimination challenge, she attacked Don. So much for being non-violent. Although we can understand her anger. Miles, while not as anger-prone, isn't innocent either. She was judgmental of Lori when she suspected Lori of enjoying the taste of meat, and both of them can be pretentious, living up to the vegan stereotype. We can't call them bad since they wanted to win the money for selfless reasons, and most of their worst moments came after they were forced to do something they perceived as horrible, so anger was justified. Up next are tennis rivals Jerry and Pete. Another team that didn't last long and mostly just focused on each other instead of the other competitors. As rivals, it's no surprise that they're constantly hurling snarky insults and friendly jabs at each other. But unlike the stepbrothers who get angry about it, Jerry and Pete are always able to laugh it off. Although they're far from enemies, they can't set aside their differences and are too busy getting back at each other to play the game. This includes sabotaging each other, like Jerry pushing Pete off the zip line at the start of the race.
This show is a terrible idea.
They can come off as petty. While they don't insult anyone to their faces, they'll crack jokes about the other teams and mock them behind their backs. Maybe rude, but not evil. While it's implied that as athletes they take rivalries seriously, we don't know if they would have resorted to sabotaging the other teams had they lasted longer. While it's implied that as athletes they take rivalries seriously, we don't know if they would have resorted to sabotaging the other teams had they lasted longer. We're gonna put these two in the lower half of the gray, along with giving them the benefit of the doubt. Wrapping up the gray, we have Ryan. Ryan is one half of the Daters-Haters team, and you could easily argue that he's the better half. As much as he may want to win the million, he isn't nearly as crazy about it as his partner is. He's willing to work with others and doesn't let himself get stressed about the competition if they start to fall behind. In fact, he gets along with a few people during the race, and even offering help when they need a hand. And he's a gentle giant who mostly has a cool head. Ryan isn't without his faults. He can be just as petty and hostile as his girlfriend when he finally loses his patience with her. Although she had it coming after how she'd been acting, breaking up with Stephanie on live TV was a jerk thing to do. Two wrongs don't make a right. Once their team officially becomes the Haters, Ryan lets out his hate for Stephanie, giving her just as much hostility as she gives him. He hits every bump during the rickshaw ride in China, making her sick. He didn't care when a deadly Komodo dragon chased her up a tree, and he doesn't hold back when it comes to the insults.
I'm not afraid of Steph or her dumb stick.
While it may have been Stephanie who led them to this point, you need two to argue. Ryan standing up for himself is one thing, but there were moments where he pushed it further than necessary. By the end of their run in the race, Ryan's caring side made a return. When Steph was struggling during the tea leaf challenge in India, Ryan helped her through it, from being patient and kind to giving her the tough love she needed to reignite her spark. Because of this, alongside his willingness to work with and be courteous towards the other competitors, we're willing to rank him just a few spots above his GF. We are done with the gray area, descending into the category filled with jerks, cheaters, and sore losers. These characters are the bad to evil. Starting off this tier, we have Kelly, the parental half of this season's mother-daughter team. We're ranking her in the bad tier for one reason: poor parenting. From the moment we met Kelly, she was a doormat for her spoiled daughter. Although upset by Taylor's attitude, Kelly just takes it, stuck in denial while wanting her daughter to be happy.
OMG, Mom. It doesn't always have to be about you.
There's a point where she's willing to bribe Taylor with a brand new car, just to make sure Taylor doesn't quit the race. For a time, Kelly's even proud of being the cool mom, not realizing she's a pushover, and gets angry with Dwayne Sr. when he tells her the truth about her bratty daughter. When the abuse becomes too much, Kelly spills one of Taylor's biggest secrets: that all of Taylor's trophies and awards are fake and were bought by her father, and she's never legitimately won anything. While you could argue that Taylor had this coming and definitely needed to know the truth, revealing it on live TV in front of millions of people? A little harsh. This isn't the only time she puts her foot down, however. During the window washing challenge, Kelly finally gives Taylor a timeout, and while they later go shopping together after Taylor apologizes, it's implied that Kelly is no longer going to let Taylor walk all over her, and that she's permanently losing her allowance when they get home.
Oh, Taylor, I'm canceling your allowance.
Although it's nice to see Kelly finally be a mother, her letting it get this far is more than a little concerning. Parenting a daughter is hard, and up until Dubai, Kelly did nearly everything wrong. Up next are the stepbrothers Lorenzo and Chet. Rude, obnoxious, and loud, we're sure these guys didn't have too many fans. These two were forced to enter the race by their parents in the hopes that the race would help them bond and become more brotherly towards each other. This eventually happened, but it took several episodes filled with arguing and immature insults. While the stepbrothers mostly focus on attacking each other for a majority of their screen time, they aren't nice to everyone else and have no issues insulting or being rude to the other teams whenever they aren't focused on each other. We only see them be friendly towards the Rockers, but that's after their double elimination at the end of their arc, so it doesn't count for much.
We hate this show. We're gonna make our own race show.
Given that their main purpose in the show is to antagonize each other, it's no surprise that they're pretty unpleasant to be around and to watch. In third place is Taylor. Though her mother didn't do her any favors, we can't deny that Taylor's brattiness and callousness are something she needs to take accountability for. Along with being spoiled rotten, Taylor often demands attention, treating her mother more like a lackey than a parent.
You need to step your game up, Mother.
A lot of her compliments are backhanded ones, and even after her mother had a moment of glory after getting the two of them safely across a gorge in Brazil, Taylor ruined it by pointing out her mother's sweat stains. Though she doesn't focus too much on the other competitors and spends most of the competition making her mother miserable, Taylor isn't a good person. She once mentioned how, back at home, she yells at their maid to make her work faster, and while she was willing to apologize so she can go shopping in Dubai, it's made clear that she hasn't learned a single thing over the race. She's terrible, but there are still a few more competitors who are much, much worse. Taking the silver medal is Stephanie. What can you say about Stephanie? Well, Ryan seems to put it perfectly. When things get competitive, she becomes a monster, to the point where she starts to threaten Ryan, telling him to never make a mistake ever again.
You turn into a raging psychotic bull!
When he struggles with the gymnastics challenge, Stephanie starts to insult him, and this gets even worse by the time they get to Hawaii. Along with being aggressive and verbally abusive when she's angry, she can also be violent and self-destructive, like when she used her boomerang on her own team because she wanted to get back at Ryan. She doesn't only focus her race rage on her boyfriend, and doesn't really make friends with any other competitor. Her ego gets her into trouble, and it makes her more angry at Ryan for making mistakes while still viewing herself as perfect.
And your shirt is so ugly it hurts my eyes.
As both a character and a romantic partner, Stephanie's more toxic than Ryan, and is just one of the worst people in this season. But she's still not the worst. We're going to rank ice dancers Jocks and Jose as our most evil characters. Let's get this out of the way. While yeah, Jose is the mastermind and influencer behind most of their cheating, Jacques was just as enthusiastic, often encouraging his partner's harsh method and complimenting her plans to cheat or screw with the other contestants. He would even enact plans on his own without Jose's help, like when he put vegetable oil all over the sisters' emu during the rodeo challenge in Argentina. The only time he refused to cheat wasn't because of any moral reason, but because he felt the possible consequence of a time penalty was too big of a risk, given that they were so close to the finale.
No more sabotage. A penalty nearly got us sent home in India.
Jacques even says later on that he has no problem cheating, only with being caught and penalized for it. He may not be as wicked as Jose, but Jacques is far from innocent. As for Jose, she's as ruthless as ice skaters come. Not only is Jose usually the one scheming and trying to cheat her way to the top, but she will do anything to win. She'll steal, manipulate, and even use physical assault. She and Jacques will backstab other teams, even after a team helps them stay in the game. Jose also has a bad habit of throwing tantrums and destroying property whenever she doesn't get her way. The two of them are so heartless, they don't care about Dwayne Sr. losing a son in a dangerous African savanna, and try to run him over when he insults gold medals.
Now can I run him over?
Please.
Between the two of them and all the trouble they caused, it's hard to find any good side. And though their scheming and over-the-top personalities make them fun to watch, they're still reality show villains. We're sure they'd be thrilled to know that we're giving them the gold medal of evil. Alright guys, what do you think? Let us know in the comments if you agree. Make sure to hit that notification bell and binge more of our total drama videos. But most importantly, stay wicked.